Xbox Game Pass continues to be the best deal in video games, and one of the things I love about Xbox Game Pass so much is discovering new games. And as always, this channel is about informing you all about what is going on in the game industry and about good games. Now, when I first decided to make this list, my goal was to do a top 10, but I couldn't just stop there, so I ultimately decided to do a top 25 instead. I did exclude Halo, Gears, Forza, and Minecraft, because we all know they are amazing games anyways, and they would have been in my top 10 if I did include them, so if for whatever reason you haven't played them, please go do so, because they're not only some of the best games in Game Pass, but they're some of the best in the entire industry, period. So with that said, let's get right into this. Gardens Bewteen is one of those titles that I probably would have never heard of if it wasn't for Xbox Game Pass. But I'm glad I tried Gardens Bewteen out. It's a prime example of what Xbox Game Pass can do. It's a clever puzzle game using time, similar to the old Xbox 360 classic Braid. It's a little on the short side, but overall, it's a good game that I would recommend. If you like point-and-click adventure games, you definitely need to check out Oxenfree. It has a good story with fun dialogue. It has a colorful art style and good characters. It's one of the better point-and-click adventure games on the market, and probably one of the best in the last 5 years.
Right? The island. I mean that's what Ren made it sound like.
Yeah, but I mean...
You used to come here a lot as a kid, right? You used to come here a lot as a kid.
Something's wrong.
The first thing that really pops out about Void Bastards is its comic book cel-shaded art style, but don't let that distract you from it being a good game as well. It was inspired by System Shock, and as you scavenge for loot on spaceships, you will quickly figure out it's a good first-person shooter.
Client expired.
I'm looking to you for a paradigm shift towards competence.
I actually loved Super Lucky's Tale, and it was one of the main reasons I finally bought into Xbox Game Pass last year. Growing up with the Nintendo 64, these type of games is like a love letter to my past. It's a little on the easier side, but it is a good 3D platforming game with nice character designs. If you like old Nintendo 64 games, do yourself a favor and try Super Lucky's Tale out. Shenmue is a cult classic with a lot of love from people who grew up playing it on the Sega Dreamcast as well as the original Xbox. The voice acting sounds odd, and it's a very slow-paced game, but if you take your time, it's also got a good story. You may have to overlook more than just a few of its flaws, but if you're looking for a good Japanese game, then Shenmue might just be it. It's a hard game to explain, but there's nothing else that's quite just like Shenmue. Life is Strange is the second point-and-click adventure game on this list, and I really can't speak enough about how good this one is. If you like the Telltale games such as The Walking Dead or The Wolf Among Us, then Life is Strange is something you must check out. It has a great story with likable characters and a good overall plot that will have you seeking for more. Life is Strange 2 is also on Xbox Game Pass as well.
Arcadia Bay, Oregon. Now I'm studying photography at Blackwell Academy, my new home. In the end, it's still high school, which...
Abzu is one of those artistic games that is more of an experience than anything else, but I think it has something important to show us as well. Not only is it a beautiful game that is relaxing and mesmerizing, but it shows us the beauty of the ocean. Unfortunately, our oceans worldwide is not too healthy right now, but in Abzu we can see some of the beauty through a digital and artistic design. It's also a fun game. State of Decay 2 may be a little janky, and it doesn't always look spectacular, but it's also a fun game. State of Decay is actually my favorite zombie game, and it has a heavy emphasis on the survival mechanics. You must defend your community and base from incoming zombies, while scavenging local houses for food and materials. Characters get sick and die, or maybe they go hungry, so it's all about how well you can manage your community. I do hope they can polish up their next game though, because I think State of Decay has a lot of potential to be something truly special.
I build, so shelter tops my list. You got to withstand the elements.
Operencia is one of those games that I really wasn't expecting to like, but there's something about this that just drew me in immediately. It's an old school dungeon crawler with fun combat. The story is just interesting enough, but it was the characters that gripped me when it came to story. It had fun level design and good puzzles, and just as a whole package, I think it's something that I really liked. If you like RPGs, Operencia is a good game worth checking out. When Ark first came out to PC years ago, I became a bit addicted to it and its survival mechanics. The dinosaurs were so cool, and trying to capture and tame a dinosaur was so much fun, kind of like catching a Pokemon, except for in Ark, they can die. You must continue to level up so you can capture better dinosaurs. Since then, Ark has only grown more and more, and while it may not run perfectly on Xbox, it's still a fun game that you can easily get lost in. The second Don't Nod game on this list, and one of the better AA games made this generation. Vampire is a third-person RPG about a vampire doctor, and if that hasn't already grabbed you, it's got good and well-written characters with a good atmosphere. The combat is fun, but it's just an overall very unique game.
And once more be reborn. The vigor in their blood is all you need.
From the first moment I saw Rime, I got a feeling I was going to like it, and it had a similar vibe that Eco gave me years ago. When I finally got to play this game, it only confirmed my original thoughts and that it is a good game, but the art style was just so pretty. It's a puzzle adventure game, and the more I explored, the more I liked it. It's memorable, beautiful, and most importantly, it's fun. Yet another game that I never would have tried if it wasn't for Xbox Game Pass, but one that immediately grabbed me. Mutant Year Zero is an isometric RPG that plays very similar to XCOM with its turn-based combat, but with a twist, where before each battle there is a heavy emphasis on stealth gameplay and how you approach a battle. The characters are witty and well designed. I mean, you're a pig and a mutated duck. How cool is that?
And he's born.
I think you've mistaken me for someone who gives a duck.
Time to kick some ass.
Here's the problem.
I was really surprised that Prey went to Xbox Game Pass, but it's a great sci-fi RPG first-person shooter. It has a satisfying story and interesting enemies. As you're on a space station, you'll be headed up against aliens, one of which is a mimic that can take on a form of any object. It's yet another first-person shooter on this list, inspired by System Shock, and if you like sci-fi shooters, Prey is one of the better of its kind.
I'm sorry. I wish there was another way.
Speaking of sci-fi first-person shooters, you can't do much better than Doom, with its fast and frantic action. The only word I can use for Doom is fun, as you slay demon after demon. The weapons are absurd, and the movement is precise. I, however, would recommend Doom on PC over console because of how fast it is, but nonetheless, it's fun wherever you play it. We really don't get enough good stealth-based games today, but thankfully we still have Hitman. Hitman is a stealth-based first-person shooter that will have you solving missions the way you want to do it as you assassinate characters.
Rubber duck.
Agent 47 could be anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Fallout is one of the best open-world RPG franchises ever made, so it shouldn't come as any surprise that Fallout 4 is yet another great entry in the franchise. Granted, Fallout 76 didn't follow this praise up very well, but Fallout 4 has a huge open world to explore and plenty of things to do. There's a lot of side quests, you can build your own community, and you can make choices that affect the game the way you want them to.
This campaign will be costly, but in the end, we will be saving humankind from its worst enemy, itself.
Hellblade is nothing short of amazing, and there's a reason it has won so many awards. It's a third-person hack-and-slash game, but it's the story and acting that is so engrossing. Seriously, it has some of the best facial animations I've ever seen, and it has a heavy focus on mental issues. The game itself is fun too, but if you like story-driven games, you won't find much better than Hellblade.
But in darkness they came, through stormy black seas they raided these shores.
Ori is one of the best Metroidvania games ever made, with an amazing art style, but unlike other Metroidvania games, Ori has a heavy emphasis on platforming. The combat is fun too, but it's the platforming that it truly excels at. Hollow Knight, similar to Ori, is yet another top-tier Metroidvania game, but it is basically the opposite of Ori, with more of an emphasis on combat, and it can be really challenging as well. It's pretty much the Dark Souls of Metroidvania games, and it does an incredibly good job at this. You can't go wrong with either Hollow Knight or Ori and the Blind Forest. Outer Wilds really surprised me in a major way on just how good it was. There's very few games that I would flat out say it's a masterpiece, but Outer Wilds is pretty close. It's an adventure game and possibly the best adventure game that I've ever played, where it has you exploring and solving the mysteries of the universe. You need to like puzzles, however, but it's something you can completely get lost in if you do like puzzles. I would consider Ashen to be one of the best RPG games of this generation. It plays very similar to Dark Souls, but has a very engaging and simplistic art style. It also puts a heavy emphasis on co-op gameplay, and an AI companion can even make that journey with you, though I did turn this option off, but it's up to you on whether you like this or not. It's challenging, has a good art style, and pretty much everything you could want in a good RPG like this. Sea of Thieves may have released as a bare-bones title, but it's only improved since then, and say what you will about Sea of Thieves, but it's a fun game. It now has a story, a PvP battle arena mode, ghost ships, and more. There simply isn't a game quite like Sea of Thieves on the market. It's actually one of my most played games this generation, and I intend to play it more and more.
Those who came before, and the rewards within your grasp are riches unimaginable.
Another surprise release on Xbox Game Pass has been the huge RPG hit Monster Hunter Worlds. Monster Hunters can be a bit of a grind fest, but the combat is super fun as you try to unlock that next piece of gear. But Monster Hunters is not only good as a single player game, but it has a good cooperative mode as well. The monsters in this game is so well made on top of that, and has their own unique behaviors, much like real wildlife would. On top of that, the game just continues to get better and better, and it has a new DLC expansion coming soon. Speaking of unique games, Rocket League has probably been the surprise hit of this generation. It's a simple concept of cars playing soccer, and it may sound odd, but they go so well together. Rocket League is simply one of the best multiplayer games I've ever played. Well, that's it for this video, but I do hope it helped you discover some new games on Xbox Game Pass. But if I missed one of your favorites, let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.